Hi, welcome to the Art of Shame-Free Living podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how to know if you've healed. So I sat down and I was making a few Instagram posts. And as I was making the Instagram posts, I was like, what do I want to share about today? And I just started noticing like what has happened in my own journey for healing. Like, how do I know that I've healed? How does that feel? How does it feel in my body? How can I tell that anything has really changed or happened? And as I started to write, more and more came, and I actually came up with a lot. And I was like, oh, I think I need to do a whole podcast episode about this. So you can also read them on Instagram if you want, but I wanted to share a little bit about how I feel like I can tell the difference of healing for me. Number one is knowing that your kids are going to make mistakes, hurt, fail, and have hard times, and you don't try and avoid these for them or with them. You sit with them through their discomfort. You welcome it, and you know that it's growth. This one is so hard for our mama hearts to realize, like, our kids are going to go through hurt and grief and pain, and it's actually going to be good for them, even though it's going to be really uncomfortable. And instead of trying to cushion their life and their situation so that they never feel that, they get to feel that with us because we know how to sit through our own discomfort. And therefore we have more capacity to sit through the discomfort of other people, knowing that it will help them, knowing that it will change them. And I was just chatting with a mom that I've been coaching for over a year this year. And we were talking about her kiddo and how she responds when she's, feeling anxiety or panic or worry or fear or whatever. And she's like, I think that is her way of being. She's actually feeling an emotion. She's feeling a feeling. And I think that's for her. I think it's for her good. And so instead of this mom, her normal response would be like, it's my fault, or I need to fix it, or how do I get her to feel better? It was like, no, that's actually her process. And I just get to be here for her. And the more I can release and ease into like, this isn't a problem, the more they feel that as well. And I actually think that's what helps them move through their emotions more quickly, as well as when they don't feel expectations around us that are like that it's not safe for them to feel. Number two, when you say no, because you feel a no inside, and yes, when you feel a yes, you trust that you know what's best for you. So instead of continuously saying yes when I actually want to say no, or saying no when I want to say yes, I'm actually really tuning into like, does this feel like a yes for me? And I don't have to just say yes and make other people comfortable around me, even when it's not feeling comfortable for me. Number three, when you don't try to fix, hold, or change someone else's discomfort about you or your life choices, you let them feel it. So even though when you say or do something, you know that it's making somebody else uncomfortable, and not uncomfortable in like I'm being mean to them or I don't care about them way, but I get to be honest. I get to be me. I get to be authentic. And maybe you notice that other people get a little bit prickly about that. Maybe it does something within them also that it's okay. It's okay for other people to feel uncomfortable. I don't have to try and assess the temperature in the room every time I walk in the room and assess everybody else's thoughts and feelings and make them feel better. When you're okay with saying no, staying home, doing less, resting more, rest no longer feels like a reward for accomplishment, but something you bask in. It's a gift that you can enjoy any moment. Sometimes rest feels really uncomfortable. Sometimes non-doing feels really uncomfortable, which is why we tend to scroll our phone or do something like mindless like that. But because it's really not mindless, we're not sitting with our actual thoughts and feelings. We're trying to ignore them because it's uncomfortable, because society has told us that self-worth equals productivity, that we need to get more done, that our value is found outside of ourselves, not inside of ourselves. And going along with that also, especially coming into like the new year and new resolutions and what we're doing this year and all of that, I think it's also important to notice that things feed on our lack, like advertisements and marketing and companies feed on our lack. They're like, look at all the things that you aren't. You need to be more toned. You need to be more calm. You need to yell less. You need to be happier. You need to be more fit, whatever that is. And they prey on that. They focus on that. They know that that's what our brain does. Our brain goes to lack instead of fullness, instead of wholeness, instead of enoughness. And when we choose what we want to do, the products we want to buy, the companies we want to engage in, the mentors we want to have from a space of enoughness and fullness and wholeness, it feels really different. Next, you don't fill your schedule or to-do list to the max. You take care of what is most needed and what truly matters. You experience time slowly, even when life is moving. And I don't always feel this way, but often I do, that even when my schedule is full, I feel slow inside. And my schedule often looks slower. I say no to more things. I fit in lots more time for me to pause and to not do anything. And I can tell when I'm getting that rush, urgency, hurried feeling on the inside again so that I can slow back down. You can go listen to a few podcast episodes ago, Essence Pace, if you want to hear more about rush and hurry. You're okay being big, being messy, being too much, which is never true anyways. You don't shrink or conform yourself for others to digest you more comfortably. You are you always with no masks, or at least almost always. You notice when you're not being that way. but you're just more comfortable in your own skin. You find you and you're okay with you. And you give energetic permission for other people to be more okay with them being them as well, the more that you be you. When someone shows you unkindness and you recognize that it isn't you, but it's their hurt that they're showing, and you meet it with compassion, not more hurt. I was talking to a client recently who was talking about some frustrations she was having with her partner. And I asked her if she had those same frustrations with her sister, because she said they got along really well. And she said, no, I think, oh, well, if she says something unkind, like she must be having a hard day. Like it's just so unusual. And I just think she just interprets it completely different. She has a very different perception. And that's how I often interpret people around me. I often go now to, they must be having a hard time. I wonder what's going on in their life that they would spew that hurt out into the world. Speaking of hurt, you also recognize that you are also going to cause hurt. You are also going to cause harm. That being part of a human, that our human condition is that this will happen. And not because I'm trying to, not because I want to. Oftentimes it's happening unintentionally, but that's part of being human, is accepting that sometimes we will cause hurt. When you notice a perception you've had for a long time and you see it all the way through its facade and it changes. So you start to notice habitual patterns of being that you've been in for a long time, and then you start to shift them because you see them as perception. When you're willing to feel big feelings and bring compassion and understanding to them instead of judgment, condescension, or avoiding. So as your feelings come up, instead of pushing them down, avoiding them, and pretending that they're not there, you allow them, you bring them to the surface, you let them be there, you cradle them, you sit with them. When something that would have thrown you for a loop in the past doesn't. I think this is a big one. So things in the past that would have been big, that would have really taken me out for days, I respond completely differently to them than I would have in the past. When you notice you're feeling triggered, you pause and you sit with your feelings before you react or you respond. You stop, you walk away, you shift through things, you change things, and then you come back again. When you try something new, seek discomfort, or you're open to expansion. You know you might fail, it might feel terrible, and it might take a long time to get good at the new thing, and you're okay with that. In fact, for my 40th year, which I was turning 40 this year, I decided that every month I was going to do something new, different, uncomfortable that I'd never done before. And it really helped make my life feel so expansive and full. And I think I'm going to do it again. I think I'm going to keep doing it. When you're okay with being wrong, being uncertain, and not always being in control. Not just okay on a conscious level, but deep down, you feel this way. Not just knowing, but also feeling. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's lots more than I didn't think of, but those are a few that I thought of. And I think when you start to notice that those little changes are happening, those little healing things are happening, you notice like, I'm different. I'm a different person than I was a year ago. I'm a different person than I was 5 years ago. And that is going to continue to happen. And as I look back to the last year and forward to the next year, I just think that's what I want to focus on, the change and the growth and the expansion that's happening and that will continue to happen, instead of on the lack, instead of all the things I should be fixing or changing. Like I have healed, I am healing, I am human, I am more and more accepting of my humanity and therefore of others, and I'm more okay with being me. And that's what I want. I want a more expansive, a more full, a more uncomfortable life, because expansion includes discomfort. So thanks for being here. If you are enjoying these episodes, I would love for you to follow, subscribe, like, share, do all those things so that it can get more out into the world, more out into the algorithm, and join me in this shame-free movement.